2. Okay, way to KP it up, Sam, right? All right, so yes, we're here. Episode number 16. Take number 2. This is Persia from Team Broken Tier, of course. We've got a packed show ahead of us, but let's introduce the cast. At the moment, SBK is trying to fix his mic. So if he manages to get that worked out, he's going to hop back in the call. But for now, we have Marcus, aka Potato Salad.
Yo.
And we also have Kyle, aka Merkel.
What's up, everyone?
And then we have Ray, of course, our new addition.
Hey, how's it going, stream?
So yeah, and then hopefully SBK can get in the call. I'm sure you guys saw my failed attempt at an intro just now, so I'm gonna abbreviate some of that. We've got some interesting topics, West Coast Warzone recap, of course, and then it's been a while since we've had a discussion topic, and so now we're introducing that again with the discussion being, is KBR a new god? Has he reached that level, or is he still on the journey? We'll talk about that. And then we have the match replays, of course. As you guys know from last podcast, we've been implementing that, and we're keeping it rolling, keeping it going. So we'll do a little bit of that. Then we'll check out some upcoming tournaments like Northwest Majors and Texas Showdown. We're going to finish it off with a Q&A as always, so please send us your tweets, your questions to our Twitter, @MarvelLives. And ask us some questions. Let us answer you. So on to the first topic, all right? Let's just get right into the show. West Coast Warzone. That was this past weekend. Had some interesting results. Ray, what did you think of the top 8 in general? Just how everyone did and some of the results.
It was pretty similar to the NCR top 8, I feel. A lot of very, very close games. Super duper, like 3-2 last character. Anchor. It kept happening. It was enjoyable. Yeah, it's same thing. Good stuff to KBR. I don't beat everybody really badly too.
And also we've got some match, like I said before, we're going to do some match coverage. I do believe that's involving Ryan LV. So I did kind of just want to get a quick opinion from Kyle about Ryan LV, what you thought of him. And of course, he's been blowing it up this year.
I'm a fan of Ryan LV. I like people that kind of bump the meta, and he does a really good job of plays a really unconventional team. He doesn't really have a ton of neutral coverage. His really only neutral assist is the TK
fireball
shot. From Phoenix. So he has to call her and put her at risk to even play. So unless, and I'll touch on it during the thing, but Morgan on point and then using legs assist is really solid. Surprisingly solid, I guess would be the word, because there are definitely better things. But no, I'm definitely a fan, and I hope to see more from him as the year goes on.
Nice. Yeah, and some other pretty interesting matches that happened. Like we had, Clock vs. Ryan LV, of course, and then we had J2 Jin in the top 8 this time too. That was pretty interesting. He faced off against Clockwork. Clockwork did beat him 3-2, which was pretty close. Marcus, did you catch that match?
I didn't watch that one. I watched his match against Killer Kai, and it was super close. Like, he had a couple of crucial drops that could have definitely turned the match in his favor, but we should also point out that he was the one that sent Chris G to losers. I don't remember the set score, but he sent him to losers to get into top 8 in winner's side. So props to him.
That actually isn't the first time he beat him too. He's won like a Wednesday night fights defeating Chris at grand finals before.
Oh yeah.
That was about a year back, a year and a half maybe. But still,
shout out to him, and also I got to give shout outs to Killer Kai, Taskmaster boys. He got to grand or winners finals at least. Did pretty well in his match against clutched it out against J2 Jin. Played, kind of got bopped by Kane, and then he ended up losing to Chris G in losers finals. But he did top 3s, nothing to scoff at. So good stuff to him as well.
What is J2 Jin's team?
Rog.
Wolverine doing Virgil. All right.
Yeah,
so,
I normally just kind of blink out whenever I see point Wolverine that's not Tussy. Like everyone else, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, this is nice. And I kind of like skim through to see if there's anything high.
You heard that, Justin? It's not just me.
No, I mean, Justin's the only other exception. But But yeah, I don't know. Wolvie Doom Virgil, like Wolvie Spencer stuff. I'm just like, nah, I don't know. I just can't get hype about it.
All right, so that was pretty much most of the top 8. You know, the official top 8 being Kane Blue River, the champion, number 1. Chris G, number 2, because, you know, Kane did beat Chris 3-0 in the grand finals. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next discussion, of course. And then Killer Kai with 3rd, Clockwork with 4th, Paradigm and J2 Jim with 5th, and then SBK and Ryan LV for 7th. I really wish SBK was in the call. I wanted to get, you know, some of his opinions about the tournament since he was there. So hopefully we can get him back into the call. Anything else anybody wants to touch on with West Coast Warzone? I didn't actually catch much of pulls either, but I heard there were some really good pulls matches. Anything you guys caught in particular?
I do feel like we should mention the fact that Justin actually DQ'd himself. He entered the tournament pre-registered and everything, but he DQ'd himself before it started. I'm not sure of the reason, but he just didn't want to enter or play, I guess. Probably focused on 5.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I want to shout out Iron God. He's a fellow Reddit boy, and he's always in the chat repping us. So, but he unfortunately lost on his stream match. But I think it was him versus Kai, and but it was a really good showing. He's definitely got a nice solid Thor.
I forgot the reason, but Justin was commentating the beginning of top 8, and he actually said the reason why he backed out of Marvel, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And since he's not here, just want to say to Sif, this is like his 3rd or 4th time losing to Chris 3-0, but he had it the first game. He had it. It would have been like I think that would have been his first time taking a tournament match on Chris. And he had that, but shout out to Chris though, staying composed and winning that match and winning the set.
That was like such classic Tassif set play for the first like 4 hits, and then
it's the worst. It's the worst watching Tassif, and everybody's like, "This man, his Wolverine Dante is so sick. Like he just touched you and it's game over." And then it's like, "Oh, he does it against Chris," and it's like, "Yes, yes, yes." And then he loses, and then it's like. Just downhill after that, just to see if it gets in his head, and it's just like he got hit by shell kick on incoming. I don't know what happened. Like,
nah.
All right. So now I think we are going to hop over to our discussion now. Something we're going to be able to talk about, I'm sure, for a little while longer this time. But our discussion is KBR. Do you think that he has reached the point where he's God status, or do you think he's, you know, still on his journey to get there? We have seen him make some good wins this year so far. Win a brawl, right? Didn't have that great of a showing at final round, but then shows up big at West Coast Warzone. But also, like you noted before, Justin did DQ himself. Could that have made a difference had he did play? A lot of different variables, I guess you could say. So what do you think, Ray, about KBR? Do you think he's getting to that point where he can be considered a god, or does he have a way to go?
I personally just do not like that term at all. Like, I'm just a hater of that term. I've always have been. But I don't think he qualifies for quote unquote god status, because in the last like 2 months there's been 4 majors, and he lost in pools and at undefeated. Then he won Winter Brawl right after, and then lost early on in final round, and then he won this thing that just happened, West Coast Warzone.
Sometimes you just forget how to swim, man. It's not like riding a bike. You gotta stay afloat and stuff. I don't know. It's hard.
I know, but Godhood, early on when we gave the title to those 5 players, they were consistently top 8, or like 9th was like the worst they ever did. So I feel like it's not entirely fair to call him a god, at least for me.
I agree with you. I think that term is really stupid, and I wish we could do away with it, but unfortunately, that's just how the scene is. But I will ask you, I agree with everything you said. Do you think that people can be gods now with the way the game is now, with Chris G and Justin and Champ making sporadic appearances? Chris G being the most consistent that plays in Marvel tournaments still, but them not playing at the height of their game. do you think people can become gods, or do you think that that's just the bar that we measure them by at this point?
It's a little bit of both. To me, like as a competitor who's been like at least placing since the beginning of Marvel 3, it again, this is my opinion. I don't think it means as much, but as it did before. But it's still like he's the one sticking to the game, and he's the one trying his hardest. So we can't use that as an excuse. He's putting in the work, and he deserves to win because he's playing more than everyone right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just can't take anything away.
But what I'm saying is, do you think like we can the people that aren't considered gods? Do you think we can say like, okay, Dual Kevin's been on a run, you've been on a run, you're now a god, or Dual Kevin's now a god? Do you think other people can be gods now? And
oh yeah, that's what I meant. Like I wouldn't accept that if somebody told me that I was like reaching godhood or whatever.
Okay.
To me as a player, I would
I
be like,
respect it. I respect it.
Yeah, I definitely feel like consistency has a big thing to do with being like God status. It should never feel like you have a chance against this person, right? I mean, realistically, like just the name alone, God status, right? We kind of just put the people we do have in that classification. You know, there's so much on them now to even hold that up that I think it's really hard to even say, oh, this person has reached that status, or even when the people we do have as our pillars, I guess you could say, you know, even have their moments, right? So I don't know. I feel like Kane Blue River, he's definitely, you know, I would say top 8 for sure, but I don't think that he's like godhood status yet. But not saying that he's not good, like in general. Obviously, he's an amazing player. But another question I want to ask to you guys is, you know, is there a difference in how we classify someone as being a god? Only choosing their tournament play, or do we also factor in how they play outside a tournament? It's like there's so many variables, but you know, which ones are we really using to like make this decision?
I can start because I'm a scrub. I think that before people wanted to say, you know, these people are the most consistent, like Ray said, like if you see this person in a tournament list, or, you know, like these are the people that entered, like that person is guaranteed top 8, bar none. Like you'll be shot, like the world will end if they don't get top 8, damn near. And they're usually in contention to get top 3. So I think that's why people would consider like a Flocker and a Rog like that, on top of the fact that Flocker won Evo. But I feel like those 5 players that we had considered gods for the longest were the only players that could face each other. And like you wouldn't be surprised if one of them won or whatever. But if anybody outside of that top 5 won, it would be a shocker. And I feel like now, I don't feel the game is like that anymore. I feel like there's a bigger, there's a higher skill level in this game, a pool of talent, I should say. So there's more quality players. So you won't be surprised if like a KBR or like a Dual Kevin or a Ray or, you know, whoever beats these players, because everybody has like gotten so much better since they were back in 2012, 2013. So I don't necessarily think that there should be any threshold besides being consistent. Can you consistently do well in a tournament? Even like I think people were considering Nemo like a top 5 player when his only like credentials was that he had done really, really, really well against Chris G and Justin Chris G and Champ in the money match. But he didn't do anything else, you know? Like he
almost lose to Mike Rose.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that consistency at the end of the day is the most important thing. Ideally, you have won some majors. I mean, you'll have won some majors. Like you're in constant threat to have gotten top 3 at a tournament. So I think now, like the people that are challenging it personally are like a Dual Kevin and a Ray. And I would have said like a full schedule before at this time last year. He was doing really well, and especially after he won CEO. But after Evo, he just hasn't been the same as a player. So.
All right, just gonna butt in real quick. SBK, is your mic working?
I don't know. Is
Yes,
Yay!
it is. Woo! Okay, this is
Alright.
great. And I really hate to backtrack, but I do want to get your thoughts on West Coast Warzone really quick. Tell us about that. Tell us about your top 8 experience. Break it down, man.
It was super stacked tournament. There weren't as many entrants as I wish there were. I think it was about like 40 something, but of the players that were there, it was really, really stacked. And going back off of what Ray Ray was saying about Justin not entering, a little fact that I think would have been super cool was that other than Flocker, every Evo champion was at attendance for Marvel at West Coast Warzone. Like, I think it would have been so sick if like everybody got together and we did like an old school Marvel 2 like round robin, but that required more planning. But other than that, I commentated a bit, but I mostly just tried to focus on playing, and I managed to somehow make it to top 8 again. I think that makes me having top 8 at every California major this season, which is like pretty unexpected for me, but I'm pretty happy about that.
It's Cali. Bro.
Cali's for me? Is that what you're telling me?
Stop it.
Oh. Yeah, I took a really hard loss to Paradigm, like second round. I don't know if you watched that, but it was like the freest 3-0 I think it's happened. Like, he's kind of been my demon for a while because very patient play kind of tends to like screw me up. And at the time, I was not prepared. I was like respecting Pipe way too much. Like, after that match, I went into the lab and I'm like, wait, how do I deal with this again? Because I'm respecting it way too much, and it just kind of dominated me neutral. But then after that, I kind of regathered my thoughts and came through losers all the way through. I had to play Clay Madness to make it to top 8, and that was a pretty hyped match for me because we're both Wolverine Tatsu players, and we both have our own different style. But I managed to come out on top at the end. He was bodying me in the mirror at first with his Akuma calls, and then I'm like, I think the commentators even like, oh, Plague Madness has the better neutral. Well, guess what? He doesn't. Because I bodied him later on. I just needed like a little bit of adjustment, and that made a really big difference. I beat him 3-1, and then proceeded to get destroyed by Chris G. That was really bad. And for those of you who are wondering like what happened, I'll tell you what happened. And you can think it's OS, but it's not. I pinched a nerve mid-set. Like after the first game, where Doom got the happy birthday off of me missing my incoming. I get really nervous and I'm trying to plank away and I miss my plank twice. And then as soon as that happens, this crazy sensation shoots up my right arm and I'm like, what is happening? This is so crazy. I don't know what's going on. And then the second round, he adapted to me what I was doing on the first round at the start, beat me there. And then 3-0, I was like so done that it wasn't even funny. Chris G is a wizard. This man is surrounded by plot armor and everything. So shout outs to him. He did really well, but he did not close it out against KBR.
KBR
Sentinel.
stole his prod armor.
No, yeah, dude, no. Jumping medium from Sentinel is greater than plot armor.
I told you he was going to bring that up. I told you.
Yeah, no.
I want to bring up the fact that Undefeated, when we did the 3v3 teams, KBR actually sent them to losers 3-0ing Chris G there too.
Whoa! That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was looking back at previous results from it, and after that tournament at West Coast Warzone, I talked to KBR for a little bit, and he told me that he thinks that he has the most consistent record against Chris, and I'm like, whoa, really? So you take a look back, he actually beat him at Northwest Majors last year.
It was 3-0.
Yeah, it was 3-0, and it looked kind of similar where Chris seemed kind of tired. He wasn't on point with like the start of the round, and KBR just like mopped all over him. CEO Chris G 3-0'd him back, and that was pretty convincing. And then we have this set right here in Grand Finals where it was back over there. So if you're also saying that he also 3-0'd him at Undefeated, so he's kind of 3-1 against him.
He only played him 3 times in tournament.
I highly doubt that. There's no way that that can be right.
Hey man, I don't know if they played anywhere else.
I'm saying like the past couple of years. Who knows?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I just remember those were like CEO last year and Northwest Majors last year. Those were the ones that. Oh
yeah, 2014 Evo. He eliminated him. It was 3-2 though.
That too. Oh yeah, and that almost happened again if he didn't play Justin this year. If KBR didn't beat Justin, he would have had to face Chris G in losers. So I remember that. Okay. So it's pretty even back and forth, but I will say that like he has a better record against Chris than I do. Shit. I'm super free to Chris.
All right,
That
so
stuff's hard.
on this note, talking a lot about KBR, his like tournament history, I guess you could say. You came in right when we were kind of, beginning this KBR as a possible new god discussion. So, just continuing off of that, you've already been talking about him. What do you think about it?
Well, when we use the term God, I think we brought up the term consistency, consistency, consistency. So I like echo pretty much what everybody else said. That he doesn't have consistent results right now. He's winning, which is pretty sick, right? But he's not necessarily the strongest across like every matchup, where like someone like F Champ, I think, has really, really, really high consistency, making top level performance. Not necessarily winning every tournament, but I can't remember the last time he didn't make a top 8. You can't say that about KBR. There's recent footage of him not making top 8 or top 32 or drowning in pools or something. Not to say that he isn't godlike, but yeah, I don't know. I would say God.
I mean, I feel like I'm in the same boat. I hate the term gods. I think I'm so tired of hearing that. So, chat, if y'all can come up with a better word for it, I'll start using that instead. But KBR is kind of this special case where you don't get to see him as much as you get to see F Champ. So there's all these times where you're like, yeah, he was top 8. Yeah, he was top 8. But if he went to a tournament and didn't make top 8 because of some weird thing, like, it gets offset by all the times that he did. So I feel like there's a kind of like a statistical thing going on there where...
No, I don't think that's true at all, because KBR went to almost everything, like last year and a half.
Well, right, and I am saying only... I mean, I'm only talking like the last 4.
Oh, the last
50. He's like 50-50. But I mean, the fact that he's taken it to F Champ, he's taken it to Chris G. I mean, he beat Justin at Evo. I mean, he's climbed the mountain at least as far as the players go. And I mean, as far as actually at West Coast, he beat Fizzy Cups 3-0. He beat Clockwork. Clockwork was up 2-0, and then he ran back 3 matches to make it 3-2. He went 3-0 against Paradigm in top 8, and then 3-0 from winners against Chris. So, like, it's pretty hard to say that that's not a dominating performance, if anything.
Yeah, else. I mean, the times where he's like on, he is very much a favorite to win. Like at this point, I mean, his play is so weird. Like, if he's on point, then he'll win Winter Brawl. He'll win West Coast Warzone. It doesn't matter who he fights against.
I don't agree with that.
Man, there's a big difference between how he was playing in pools on Saturday between how he was playing in top 8. I'll say that much. And, like, go ahead.
I would say I agreed, but there's no way you're going to tell me that him versus Champ, you're like, at Winter Brawl, you're like, yeah, he won. GG's Champ. Like, he earned that win. But you're not going to say, if you looked at those two, like, oh, they got to play against each other. It's about to be a repeat of this money match or the exhibition, you know? Same thing with Chris. You were waiting for Chris to reset it at the very least.
I actually bet that KBR would win the set.
The first set.
The first set, yeah, and I got mad lucky.
Well, another thing to this is, I guess after this weekend in particular, everyone was calling KBR the God Slayer, right? So where's the dividing line between, it's okay for him to be a God Slayer, but it's like not okay for him to be a god, right? So is there more weight in being a God Slayer, do you feel like? Because obviously, like we said before, these people that we do consider gods now, we kind of base high-level play around them. So this person to be the God Slayer, where does that really put him after that, after that happens over the weekend? Or, this year in general, how well he's been playing. Looks like Kyle stepped away, but I'm not going to pass it to him now. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would, with Champ's departure from the Marvel community or the Marvel tournament scene at the moment, I would say that, like, KBR is probably like 3rd as far as rankings go, where Justin and Chris have this crazy consistency, I don't think anybody can take it to those two as well as KBR can right now, just because you can, like, out of everybody, like, I'll say this much about West Coast Warzone, it was sloppy. Everybody's been playing Street Fighter 5. You could definitely tell a lot of combos were dropped, a lot of weird decisions were made that people normally wouldn't, but all of that went out of the window once KBR stepped on the stage and played. He played with such crazy confidence that netted him such dominating wins. Like, you can't say that he isn't of, like, right below that. Like, the consistency thing is the only thing he doesn't have going for him in tournament right now. That's how I see it.
Surrender.
What's the sound? Anyways, if like Justin even brought it up, and I kind of agree with him. Like, how can you call KBR a Godslayer if Justin's like 10-1 against KBR?
Yeah.
Or like his record against Champ, or his record, like, he has a good record against Chris, but I mean, like, the other two, it's like not in his favor, and not even close, really. So, like, I guess what are we saying is a Godslayer? Because, like, how many of them have you beaten, Ray? Like, what about Derek, or what about, like, I mean, I'm forgetting somebody else. Kevin does well. Cloud does well.
Yeah.
Cosmos beat Chris, and like, Cosmos almost beat Champ, and I don't think he's played Justin yet. But like, like, what are we saying is a Godslayer? Because I don't think we're talking about consistency. He doesn't have consistent tournament results, but he doesn't also consistently beat them either.
Yeah. Well,
I got caught with the same.
maybe it's just. Go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like I sound like a broken record, but like, so when we gave the gods the title, like, the reason they were gods was because it wasn't that it was hard to beat them. It was hard to beat all 5 of them and win the tournament, right? Because there's plenty of people who got top 3 a couple of tournaments, got top 4, top 5, but beating all 5 of them and like getting first place was the hard part. And I don't feel like that there's anything like that recently, at least.
Mhm.
So that's why I rather do away with the term and Godslayer, gods, all of that, because there's just nobody who's just higher than, like, there's no group of people who are just higher than the rest.
Right. I
I
agree.
get what you're saying.
Like even I lost in pools at Winter Brawl. He lost in pools recently, and who else is like people are considering top? Like though Kevin don't make top 16 every time, So I feel like anyone who's coming up now is still not as consistent as they ever were.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't know, like,
I was expecting us.
I'm not trying to dump on his winning either, though. I don't want to make it seem like that, because he's a really, really, really good player. And I think he, like we've said, he's like top 8. But I just think that Marvel as a whole, like, I don't think you have like your, like, if we're saying these 3 players, and we're not even saying them now, but just like their legacy, we'll just say they're the top 3 all time or whatever. Because I think that's what that God term pretty much says. It's like, Justin, Chris, and Champ are top 3 forever and ever, and then who else is after that? And I really think like 4 through 10 really is like any mix of players at any given time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody is like a defined 4, a defined 5, a defined 6, and all that. So it's not to dump on any player that does well against those players, but it's just asking for a little bit more consistency, which I think is hard to do in this day and age with, like I said, the talent pool is so much higher than it was when those guys were dominating.
They really are distracted.
All right. Well, now I wanted to kick it over to these match replays. It seems we might have lost Kyle. Merkel, we lost him. Not sure where he went. Should I still move on to the video, guys? What do you think? I mean, is there anything left to say that we haven't said already? I think we've pretty much beat this horse to death about a million times by now. So yeah, but I think, you know what, we can close the chapter on that. I'm confident in doing that. That's fine. But yeah, so the match replay we had coming up, hopefully we can get Kyle back in here really soon, was Ryan LV versus Clockwork, right? That was who we had going. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get Kyle back in this call. What do you guys think? Did you guys have a different match you wanted to do before, or were we pretty much just waiting on Kyle?
I mean, we pretty much waiting on Kyle, but we could talk about that match real quick.
Yeah.
Because those two have faced off plenty of times. It's kind of surprising how much that match keeps happening, and it's usually always 3-2. But I'm pretty sure Clockwork has the upper hand. Ryan LV and Clockwork actually did play earlier in that tournament, and Clockwork came out ahead. And apparently, it was off stream, and apparently Clockwork was like in a rare moment of like talking mad-ish to Ryan LV mid-match. I don't know if it got to him.
He's good for those. He's good for those. But again, it's off stream. You probably don't see that too often.
Yeah.
But I've seen him since 2012 doing this.
All right. Oh well, Kyle's back. Kyle, I think your mic might be muted. But oh, your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. See, it's not me this time. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, we got you. All right, so yeah, we can kick over to the replays now. Interesting.
Yeah,
replays.
because my other computer just died, and that held all my notes about all the stuff I wanted to talk about. So
Oh no, it's
time to wing it.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
go for it. We've got the screen up now. Like we said before, this is Ryan LV versus Clockwork from West Coast Warzone.
The items are our teammates. What are they doing?
What are they doing?
What are you doing?
That's awkward. All right.
Sorry,
What do you do?
I'm working on it. Yo, banter for 5 seconds. I'm still getting everything plugged in. Also, I need a link to the video. I lost that.
Okay.
My
We
computer
got
died.
you.
Had to pop on my on the missus's computer.
There you
Oh,
go.
that sucks.
Out of here.
But yeah.
So I guess-
okay.
Wait,
go ahead.
let's set the stage. I don't know, since I missed some, I don't know how much we covered.
We were just talking about it briefly, but the video is still on the same timestamp. We didn't start the video or anything.
Okay, so we got this is top 8. I think this was literally the first match in the top 8 bracket, at least for these two. And of course, got Ryan LV versus Clockwork. And go ahead and start. Starting off the match. Actually, I'm going to pause it real quick. I'm going to say one thing that bothered me. I respect the mess out of every single streamer, but if you have some really cool fancy thing and you're doing Marvel, please, please, please remember that the first, like, before the actual fight thing happens, like, that's really important.
Yeah,
Like, that says a lot about how the match is going to go, and
definitely.
in almost every one of these, you got cut off. So, you know, if you
I
get to work
noticed
a
that
stream-
too.
you work a stream station one day, you know, keep that in mind. So anyways, start of the match, Ryan LV gets a really good TK spinning bird kick and picks up a really quick combo. And went through, I thought that this reset right here was really nice. It showed a lot of foresight to block, expecting the assist call to come out. Gets a really nice combo coming up. And I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it was super sick. Like, if he was actually going up, I assume he was just trying to go for a throw reset on an up back, and maybe he knew that it option selected, but either way, I thought it was nice. And moving forward, that is Vajra assist punish number 1, and I wish I had time to actually put a counter because it's kind of important. Clockwork didn't believe, and it really hurt him in this set, but gets a quick punish, knows to block and not chase it too hard so he doesn't get punished for it. And then once again, Clockwork's full screen calling Vajra, and he's already proven that he knows how to do this. It gets a ton of damage this time. It almost keeps going. If Clockwork hadn't dashed under him, I bet that spinning bird kick would have kept it going. But the rest of the match, at least for a little bit, kind of slows down. It's just kind of standard back and forth. He pulls Morgan in. And in a second, this is where it'd be nice to have my notes. I have to try and remember everything that happened. Oh, so right here, I'm thinking that we're going to start seeing a lot more of these kind of scoops from Clockwork. Since he did recently switch to Hitbox, I'm pretty sure he's now playing with a Pope Select layout, which makes it really easy to get a lot of option select throws just for free. And so when you set up those situations where you want to go for a throw, but you can keep it safe and still pressure at the same time. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of really snazzy hitbox stuff going on from Clockwork, but I think as time goes on, we're going to see a lot more super gross stuff. And I tried to slow down everything as slow as I could when we get these clockwork moments, because a lot of times, like, oh man, it's so unblockable, what side? But you'll actually notice in here, Ryan LV is actually not even blocking. I don't know if he went for a push block, but that's Ryan LV getting hit himself, number one, into a free combo, and you'll see it again in a second. But
Man.
Magic Pixel there from Phoenix, and apparently like Clock just wasn't ready for that to happen, and just walks into Phoenix the entire time. But gets a really nice mix up here too, that I thought was pretty sick. Gets a dash over, and then like the knowledge on knowing how big her normals are and how to confirm off of that, I thought that was really sick. And the rest of the match, I mean, go and watch it. It's really hype, but I think it was just pretty standard fare. So in a couple of seconds. So here's match 2. The start on this one wasn't super important, but again, we'll get a clockwork moment. And I think this one, if you watch, so Phoenix is going to come in. She's holding up forward at this point, and you'll see her start to jump already. So again, I mean, I know that he was probably just up backing, trying to catch the unblockable there. So I mean, you really just have to pick a side, but another unfortunate turn there. And again, it goes into kind of standard stuff. I thought this part was funny though. He throws on sword belt, and I think this is another section where he was actually trying to go for a Pope's leg. But if you watch behind his head, there's going to be this fireball, and he dashes, and I think he was going up for a throw right there because he's just holding forward and plinking. And again, you get that really nice free dash. And there is kind of the first showing of how powerful Legs is as a lockdown. But you can tell he's
already to call it freely.
Yeah. But just trying to mash push block way too hard there, and as soon as he landed, he was already just walking into a hitbox. And again, we kind of get back to the standard stuff here. I think, yeah, and here, like, really good acknowledgement of the situation from Clockwork to get the hit and then X Factor and then realize Legs were there. I assume that wasn't an accidental block, but Ryan LV gets a little too happy there and just kind of dashes into some orbs.
Yep, even if you're still in Blockstone, you can still fire orbs, so it's like never a good idea to try and create momentum or offense.
So
if they're tight, you can't call orbs.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so then there was a gap. Okay, fair enough.
So going into match 3, I want to know if I can get there. We go. No, go away. Okay, so going into match 3, this is going back to Ryan LV's kind of standard game plan of trying to escape. And in every situation, this is the only time that I think he actually got hit instead of punishing the Vajrakal right there. And unfortunate because it ends up getting a snap. And once again, we're back into a Clockwork situation. I thought this one was really gross. Like, you can see how bad the camera jitters right there. And it's like, good luck, just pick a side.
Yeah.
But it gets a quick kill. And it goes back into standard stuff. I think we get if I remember right, this one is a pretty slick Chun run back. I don't remember. Once again, unfortunately, I lost my notes. So as soon as it slows down, I'll be able to tell you exactly what was cool about this one. Oh, that's right. He's about to get a really nice, again, TK spinning bird kick. It's safe on block as long as you TK it low enough, and gives a free pickup and gets a really nice happy birthday scoop here, which is going to win on the match. And you don't see it a lot, but Dark Chun is actually really terrifying to deal with.
Yep.
Like, you can't sleep on her. She's as fast as Wolvie, and with her box dash and her buttons, I don't know. She's really strong. So this was really sick. I thought that she won, so she actually loses this one. That delayed teleport was just so on point because Ryan LV does a whole lot of situation where he's running away. So waiting until he was actually falling to the ground and then waiting until the last second to use the bird bomb to set up the mix-up was a really good look and got him the match. And again, we kind of it goes into standard stuff, kind of the typical Clockwork scrambles. Eventually gets a hit, and like still, I even slowed down that slow. I have no idea what side that was on. Like, it kind of just proves how how absolutely good his
Simple,
setups are.
but so effective. That
And he just sits there, you get X Factor, you get the kill, and
running back.
whatever, just do it again. But you can see on that one, he was at least doing a spinning bird kick. He was trying to evade the situation, but again, Virgil S, what are you going to do? And this was really cool. Sped it up just because there's Ryan LV goes super patient, but this goes back to Clockwork not trusting that Ryan knows how to deal with Vajra. So he shows him right here, gets a really solid punish. Luckily, there's a Fing Laser to stop him from finishing it up, but that's half life. And so they go for another like 5 seconds, and you're going to see Clockwork do another Plasma Beam plus Strider Call. And Ryan's like, yeah, okay. I mean, you didn't believe me that I knew what I was doing. I'll do it again. And he gets the kill. And I think like right there, that's when he lost that match. Like, it really just should have been 3-1. There's no reason to even risk it. And you see that happen a lot from all sorts of players. And this last match, I thought that the start of the match was interesting because I feel like Clockwork started to actually change his assist calls. Like normally he was calling Strider while he was up there and just getting him bopped. But you'll notice he actually starts calling Strider after the third, even there he gets him popped anyways. But he starts calling him much lower to the ground so that he's falling into stuff as opposed to trying to hit Chun in the air. And I think for anyone that does have to fight Ryan LV in the future, you should keep that in mind. Don't reset his air actions. Just stay on the ground and try and punish Morgan. Mm-hmm. And just Chun is kind of the misdirection on this team. You don't want to get stuck going after her because that's not really the point. And this, another thing, if you do happen to fight a Phoenix, like you don't, the mix-up at this point isn't do you know it, it's do you know that they know that you know it, and so you cannot go for the TAC break or the double TAC fake. Like it's so, you have to get so far into their head now. And of course, the grab heard around the world. Everyone loved this. And once again, I think that you're going to, at least from Clockwork and other hitbox players, you see those kind of grabs all the time because they're just free. Like there's no reason not to go for them. Which actually rounds out the match. Unfortunately, that last match didn't have very much outside of the grab, but I think it shows a lot of exciting stuff from both players. And you should definitely go and watch the full set. Everyone's uploaded it all over the place, mainly because of the grab. Everyone got super hyped about that.
Yeah, the audience at that moment just like completely erupted. That was the matches beforehand were pretty cool, but that was the match that got everybody really watching in the room. It was pretty crazy. Like, I mean, a lot of people have been keeping up with Marvel and watching Ryan LV do work with Chun-Li, especially that Anchor Chun-Li comeback. Everybody was, or the almost comeback. That was really, really hype. Not a lot of people got to or understood that Chun-Li was like a real big threat. So it was fun to watch.
I think Ryan is incredibly good at playing all of his characters essentially solo. Like his Morgan gets more pressure than I've seen Morgans get with assists. Just like his knowledge of spacing and how to set up the pressure. Like most people are really good at zoning, but kind of falter once they have to actually try and go in and press buttons. But I think that's someplace that he really shines, as he works so well with the limited resources he has, and I have a lot of respect for him. So.
For sure. And I think another big thing about
where's Sam?
Am I not here?
I can see you.
I'm here. Oh, okay. I was like, I'm definitely here. I think. I don't know.
Is Sam here?
Oh, he can't hear me.
Yeah,
he can't hear me.
Wait, am I dead?
No, you're here. He just can't hear me.
I can't
What
see
is
Sam.
going
Okay, never
on?
mind. It's fine.
All right, you know
Okay.
what? Anyways, I think that's what a lot of people really like now about Marvel is that a lot of the character specialists have come out, and a lot of people, you know, have been using like the unorthodox characters, and that's really exciting. And I think that really gets people into the game. So, yes, huge shout outs to Ryan LV. You know, ever since even like Undefeated and even before that, super entertaining to watch. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for him, you know, in the future. Hopefully he goes to EVO. Definitely want to check that out. But yeah, so that's about it for our match replays. We're going to talk about some of the upcoming events coming up the next 2 weeks, and then we're going to do some Q&A. So come on, guys, send those damn questions to our Twitter, all right? I'm not going to ask you again. Been asking you all day. So please just let us know. You know, we're here for you guys. Send us some tweets, some questions. But yes, upcoming events this weekend, we've got Texas Showdown, right? And that is in Houston, Texas, of course. And that's going to be streamed by, let me check it out, our little notes here. Yeah, Pandex Gaming is streaming pools on Saturday from 5 to 7. And then Level Up Live is streaming Top 8 on Sunday from 12 to 3. And you can also check out their website at txshowdown.com or follow them on Twitter at Texas_Showdown. So yeah, this is interesting. I love watching, you know, all the majors that are in Texas between this one and Absolute Battle. I think they're really fun. And it's in Houston, so I know at least we should be seeing Jan, right? I feel like that's a default.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're especially hype about that, Marcus.
What about Rubex? How are we not gonna mention Rubex?
Yeah,
Right?
well, he'll probably have some lame ass excuse like school or something. He's always like, yeah, I had school. But you said what?
Nah, last year's Texas Showdown had a really interesting top 8. It had what's his name? It had Buckethead actually play.
Yeah, Buckethead.
He actually took out KBR that tournament.
I feel like Noel got top 8 as well. Or
No, he didn't make top 8.
I'm thinking of the other tournament that I'm thinking of.
EB.
Absolute Battles. Yeah.
he won
But
that
yeah, you should probably see like Rubik's, Jan, Zay, Ron Masama, maybe Busby. I mean, I haven't seen that dude in forever. Who else? What are some other Texas players? I really used to like mess with Texas a lot, but like those guys don't really travel out that much. Maybe you'll see some Mexico, hopefully.
Oh, that would be cool.
tight.
For sure. I mean, hopefully all that flooding going on over there doesn't affect the tournament. I'm not really sure what the status is over there, like for them in particular. But, man, thoughts and prayers to everybody out there right now, seriously, because I've been, you know, just seeing the stuff online. It's, like, really scary. Car is completely underwater. So hope everyone out there is safe, and I hope Texas Showdown is still, you know, able to go smoothly, regardless of all that. Did we lose SBK again? Are you still here?
I think he tried to figure out what was going on with this.
All right, cool. Yeah, aside from Texas Showdown, we also have, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that, April 29th, we have Northwest Majors. That is in Washington, all the way over there. You can go to northwestmajors.com. Check out a little bit more. That's the April 29th through May 1st. So not this weekend, but next weekend. What are some people we can expect to see over there? Maybe like Kyle P, right? He lives up there in that area.
Check out the regulars, you know, Chris, Justin.
Mhm.
I'm actually going to Northwest Majors.
Oh, nice.
I'm guessing like are you going to Northwest Majors to see?
I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, we can hear you. You know,
cool.
like, are you any of the other guys, Champ or?
Ryan's going,
Preach.
but he's
Ryan goes every time.
Okay. KBR will be there.
Yep. Sure
Does
will.
he normally goes? Any Japanese?
Nothing's been announced
Dude!
as far as that goes. So.
Where is KBR right now?
Good
Is
question.
he in Seattle right now or Texas? He took a picture. It was he said that Kusuro.
Oh,
Oh,
back.
yeah.
He
Yeah.
said Kusuro is back. If you guys don't remember, Kusuro was the Joe Frank Rocket Raccoon player that won final round like what
3 years ago.
16? Final round 16?
2 or 3 years ago.
It was 2012.
Yeah, that was the first ultimate final round. And yeah, that dude he didn't want anything to do with American players after that because they were trolling the mess out of him. But KBR said he's back, so maybe he might be at a major in the next week or two.
They're hyping him up specifically for KSB. That tournament. Angelic's going there. Clockwork's actually going there, which is absolutely crazy. Like, it's going to be a really hype Marvel major.
Okay.
It's the only one Japan really has.
Okay.
I was gonna say Kasoro always played, and he continued to play, and he played a large portion of the cast, and he prepared the Japanese with a lot of matchups. Like he could play almost what's his name? When Nemo was practicing for the money matches, he was playing against Kasoro, picking their teams.
Yo,
So,
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was playing like Mag Doom Phoenix. He was playing Morgan Doom. He was playing everything pretty much.
Yeah, the last footage I've seen of Kusoru is him playing Fizzy Cups / B's Spencer
Yeah,
Frank Dante
yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't look as clean as like those two players I just mentioned, but he those were characters I did not think he even played. So that definitely speaks to what you're saying about him being a character monster. He can play most of the cast. That's really cool.
And I guess going back to Northwest Majors would be like Jabril, Kyle P. I guess Norco guys, Dragumba, Scroll Boys, Darren. Like
I want to see Darren. Yeah.
dude,
I always been a fan of
he
his
used to
gameplay.
be like one of my favorite players to watch, and then he just like stopped like doing stuff. Like I would see him. I don't think he was at Northwest Majors one year or something like that. And then the next year I watched, he didn't get top 8. But man, I really like. He's so clean.
Yeah.
Man.
You know who's also there? That
Copy, and they practice together.
yeah.
Yin and
You know-
yang, man.
Ratana is also from that scene too, and he's someone that isn't really talked about. I think he has a lot of trouble in tournament. I don't know what it is, but if you sit down with that dude and actually play him, he's pretty damn godlike.
Old school, yo. Old school.
Yeah,
player.
yeah, old school. Yeah, he's been like, Marvel 2 legend for like a long time, and he plays Magdoom Virgil, but he actually plays it Magneto Virgil Doom, which is a pretty interesting order. You get like Touch of Death off of literally every single touch you get with Magneto, so it's a lot more of a steamroll order. Like, Ray, what do you think about like that order as opposed to the Magdoom Virgil order?
I'm a fan of it strictly because of Shockwave into install super. I think that's like it's
so
so
busted.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you clear the entire screen, and then you get to just run some nonsense after. But
Yeah.
people are all about the mangas. I don't know.
Word.
All right, cool. So we covered some of the upcoming tournaments. We've made it through our topics. So you know what that means. We can finally do some Q&A and answer some questions. And you guys did send some good ones in. Thank you. Thank you. I was really worried that you guys weren't going to send anything in, but we're good. So here we go. Let's just kick it off with the first question. This is from Alucard Nurahara. What's up? He says, I've heard people say that Zero would be a great anchor, but has anyone proven Zero anchor to be really any good? Okay. I'm just going to start by saying, like, I'm not sure of anyone who actually has Zero anchor, but when Zero ends up as an anchor somehow, I always see him, like, pretty scary, especially it depends on whose hands he's in, like Flux or Cloud, so, when he falls into that position, I think he's pretty terrifying. Kyle, what do you think about that?
I'm trying to think of who the actual player was, but there was somebody at West Coast Warzone, played something like Zero Doom Mag or something like that. But what he would do is, I think it was West Coast Warzone. It's definitely something I've seen recently. I don't remember what it was. But he would essentially play Zero to get the 2 meters, and then get the go into Sogenmu so that he had double Hadankeki, and then he would pull him in the back and then play Mag Anchor, and just run it from there. And if he needed the DHC later, he would just go into Raikkosen to get back in. But he was doing a lot of work. Like, I think the Hitbox team has kind of put out some videos showing the kind of gross tech it has. And the people that are okay with running it, like, you can't really, like, Zero's already a problem by himself, but once X Factor and install, pretty much any character that can X Factor 3 plus install is a problem.
Also, alpha counter.
Yeah.
And
Is that really the only way you would play him anchor, is if you use his alpha counter? Because his projectile assist isn't that good even when he's cloned up, is it?
Nah, it's not. It's like 7. So it goes through 1 fireball and then.
I feel like did Win Zero, did he usually do work with not
No,
specifically?
he would have
Lab?
anchors too. He
Yeah,
would
but
play
like
Chris, Zero, Joe, that order.
okay. I'm trying to think of all the players that I had seen that use Zero Anchor, or not use Zero Anchor, but can play with Zero Anchor, because I feel like Buckethead would point Zero, but then once he brought in Phoenix, or not Phoenix, once he brought in Morgan, he was competent with Anchor Zero, and even like not that he's on their level, but like Aaron, it's this dude in Florida. He ran like Zero Dorm Chun or something like that, and he would basically, if he killed, he DXC the Dorm and then bring in Chun, and then it would be Zero on back with the cloned up Hangeki assist or whatever, and that was kind of whack. And now he puts a better team.
I don't think the assist is like it's definitely not a durability assist, but it's kind of like a Spitfire twice attached to a better character. Like it's just one of those things that it just kind of sits on the screen for a long time and just causes hassle. So as long as your point can put out some durability, that just becomes a really good follow-up assist. So, like I said, I don't remember who it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Pools. So if you'll go and check the Pools stream from day 2 at West Coast Warzone, if you're looking for it, there's definitely some there, and he was going super ham, but he was getting wins with it. I don't
That's
remember
what
who
you
he was.
do.
Yeah, man, I just kind of feel like there's not a reason not to.
All right, cool. I feel like we can move on to the next question. This one is actually pretty good. This is from John Zeep. John's 3PE. Yeah, what's up? He says, in Ray's recent YouTube video, he tells Punisher to up back more to avoid mix-ups. Are there any other tips like this for beginners that I guess you guys could shed some light? I'll pass it around the table to all of us, but we could start with Ray since it was directed to you.
Oh, so what I was telling him is, I think it's in the video. I haven't rewatched it, but I remember the situation. I was telling him that he's too used to not up backing and holding back because he's on hitbox, and he also mains point MODOK, and you can't up back out of a lot of situations with MODOK. So he allows me to get mix-ups on him that I am not earning with the other characters when he's playing like Raccoon or whatever it may be. So up backing pretty much just removes the whole high-low whenever you can up back. So you just don't want to be on the ground when you don't have to be. And that's all I was telling him. He's too used to the MODOK stuff, where you have to block grounded.
To see if you catch that, the question?
Nope.
Alright. I got you, dog.
This
Basically,
shit sucks.
No, I got you, man. So basically, what's a good tip that beginners may not necessarily know on like things to help them in Marvel? And I mean, like that's kind of like some of the things that we had been talking about. So like one thing would be like advancing with your point character, blocking whatever the mix-up is, and push blocking and calling your assist.
Yeah.
You see Justin do that a lot with Wolverine, where he'll jump into like plasma beam, just jump block, just advance forward, take whatever the projectile is, push block the opponent away, and call his assist to basically not necessarily reverse pressure, but to put pressure the opponent and back them into the corner. That's one thing. You got anything else?
I was gonna add to what Ray was saying about chicken blocking in general to avoid all the mix-ups. If you can option select plink. If you just plink like heavy with another button, you can basically option select a grab and a push block at the same time. And when you know how to time that well in the air, you can just use your push block to stay like in the air to avoid high-low. And if there's ever a gap that they're coming at you, you'll get a grab, or you'll tech a grab if they're trying to grab you. It's really hard for the opponent to actually mix you up in the air if you know that option select in general. Like, we were also watching, Clockwork's crazy grab against Dark Phoenix when Dark Phoenix had 3 traps in front of him and Ryan LV tried to go in. I'm pretty sure Clockwork got that grab because he was trying to up back and push block one of the traps and push block too early, thinking that he was going to block a trap and then just grab Phoenix. Like, you'll get all these random grabs out of nowhere. So, like, knowing your push block timing to stay in the air while option selecting grab is, like, it's really good the better you get at it. And it can really, let you play neutral for a long time. So, yeah, just, like, combine what I said with Ray, and it's going to be really hard for you to be opened up.
What about you, Kyle? Any tips you can give to anybody?
I think my main beginner tip is don't feel like you always have to block string all the way through to something. I feel like people coming in from other fighting games feel like, you have to light, medium, heavy, fireball. And there's so much in this game where, like, you just want to go in and make them block something while your assist gives you the extended blocks done. Whereas if you like went low, medium, or a LMH fireball with whatever character, and do like your H plus the assist, like, yeah, you'd definitely be safe, but you wouldn't get the follow-up mix-up a lot of the time. Whereas if you just went up and did like light, and called your assist with your first light, say it's Plasma Beam, Jan Session, 90% of the assists in the game that make them block something, you're going to get a lot more attempts to get mix-ups and pressure. Because when I would say 90% of the time I see someone that's like, yeah, critique my video or let me know. Like, you'll see them just kind of autopiloting through things. And there's a lot where you can just keep it really simple and let your assist do way more work in this game than you do in other fighters.
Yeah, I think something really important, about Marvel in particular, a game that always feels like it's just so fast and like you always got to be doing something and you always got to be on the move and you always have to be one step ahead. In a game like this, it's so important to just like stay patient, even though sometimes it feels like it could be impossible. Just stay patient. Push blocking, I think, is a huge aspect of the game. It's easy to bait somebody to push block. It's easy to get baited to push block. So, always confirming blocking or confirming when someone is push blocking you, so that if you start reading the way someone push blocks, then you can really change the game for yourself and use different setups against their push blocking. Because most of the time, some people, they'll just be like, oh man, I just want to push block so I can get you away from me, not really thinking how much worse they could be putting, how much worse of a situation they could be putting themselves in, compared to them just not push blocking and just blocking regular. So little things like that, get to know your push blocks and stay patient. That's probably the two best things I can offer. Oh, and, movement, of course. I kind of feel like it's an unspoken rule now that your movement should, be up there. And if your characters don't move, you need to find ways to help them move, a better assist, things like that. So any final tips? I think we can move on to another question. Potato Salad, did you give us a tip? I know you read off the question.
Oh, yeah. I was saying the advancing and utilizing your assist to reverse pressure.
Gotcha. All right, cool. So let's see. What else do we have here? This is from FGC Events. Who's left to step up and slay the God Slayer, Kane Blue River, with Justin and F-Champ focusing on Street Fighter V? Who do you guys feel like is, the person that is going to be able to take out Kane every time? We've been talking a lot about Kane today, but I think this is an interesting question, but it also falls into the same category of Kane's consistency, right? So I guess it just depends on tournament, depends on when Kane's on fire for this question to really be different. But who do you guys feel like, without a doubt, every single time they play, they're always going to take it over Champ?
I like Cloud and Flux 100% over him.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time they run into him, I think they're going to win.
Right.
Especially Cloud.
Do you feel like that's a zero thing, or they're just better players than him?
It's a little bit of zero.
Well,
Too tough.
All right. What about you, Kyle? What do you think?
I feel like Kane is one of those characters, one of those players that is really his emotions and how he's feeling affect his playstyle, and I think that why he's been doing better lately is that he hasn't been in his head so much. But I think if he can keep that up, then he doesn't really have many players to worry about, because that's kind of the strength of his team. Is aside from, I think Zero is probably his worst matchup. There's a lot of teams that, yeah, they should win, but one touch kind of just ends the match. So
Pretty much.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't expect him to be doing so. I wouldn't expect him to lose against Champ. I wouldn't have expected him to lose, or I wouldn't have expected him to beat Champ, rather. And I wouldn't have expected him to beat Chris G as many times as he has now. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a coin toss, which maybe that's a Marvel thing. I think this says a lot about Kane and how far he's taken his team. So I don't know. I can't think of a single person I'm like, yeah, that's the Kane killer. Anyone probably could,
Right.
given the day, and don't get hit.
And what about you, Marcus?
Just to name some players that haven't been named. Despite him losing the last time they played, I would throw Justin in there. I think he would, or does he not count because he's a god? Can a God Slayer slay a god? Can a God slay a God Slayer?
Can a God slay a God slayer?
God, screw that term.
I know.
God
I think we're going to officially lay that term to rest after this episode. No one's allowed to say that term ever again. After this episode, that's it. It's had its run. It's over.
Yeah,
We're not saying it anymore.
I'll say, so if we don't include Justin, I do think Cloud is one of those guys. I think Flux as well, like Ray said. And then just players that hadn't been named.
What about Jan?
Man, you know I want to say Jan. You know I want to
Dan
say
actually
Jan.
owns them, but I don't know if they played in tournament all the time.
Yeah. And then I guess the only other player, I don't know if they have played, but I think Kevin could take them.
I like if they play now. I like Kevin, but I like Kevin against everyone because
Yeah. But I would say, I guess if I'm saying new players, players that haven't been said, then I would go Chan and Kevin would be my two.
Cool.
And you got anybody to see if you think you beat ABR?
I feel like, I'll echo sort of the same sentiments as everybody, saying that we're bringing up 0 players, and 0 is probably the best matchup you can have against that team if you know what you're doing. So I like, the strong 0 players, like you said, Cloud, Flux, they do really well. It's interesting that you brought Jan up, Brent, actually, too, because I talked to Justin about this a few times, and he says that Kane is not very good against, like, his own sort of playstyle, his own shell. We saw that, way back when with the epic 1-15 Fublat versus KBR that went to last game when, this is Evo Champion versus Fublat, who's just been, like, a gatekeeping guardian for, all of eternity in Marvel. He hasn't really gotten any top placings or anything, but he went, toe-to-toe with the best Hulk Hagger player, and Justin's point with that is saying that, since that team is very high variance and Kane plays like a nut, that he thinks that any other Hulk Hagger player would actually do really well against them. And to stir the pot even more, I've heard that Justin wants to learn that team specifically so he can beat Kane with it. What do you think about that?
I'm okay with it. Please.
Is that to motivate him?
It is to motivate him. I'm mad he didn't enter. God.
I don't
Dude,
think because he's not gonna be killing. Justin's not gonna be killing with his BBCS combos.
Alright, cool. So we do have some other questions. Pretty cool. A fun question here. Thoughts on Ghost Rider as a character in competitive play? Shout outs to Jacko Man for that fun question. I'm just gonna start off by saying when Ultimate first dropped, we were in California, and guess who of all people wins this midnight release tournament that we went to with him? Clockwork. And guess who's using? Ghost Rider. So that was my very first impression of the game of Ultimate when it came out, just watching Clockwork beat people with Ghost Rider. I was like, alrighty then. He obviously knows something we don't about this character, but then, couple of months in, no one was really using him. But what do you guys think about Ghost Rider? Does he have some hidden potential in there? Ray is just shaking his head.
I'm not gonna say hidden potential, but in the vein that pretty much any character, when optimized properly and played properly, can be a threat. He's definitely threatening, and there are some matchups. Ghost Rider players all the time love to say, "Yeah, but what about that full screen snap so that you don't with Virgil?" Yeah, right. So I mean, I definitely there are some players. What is the guy's name? Is it Nicolas Cage? It's like
Nick Cage from Australia.
Australia. So if you watch some of his, he does a really good job using the tools that he has. And Ghost Rider has some tools that are weird and you wouldn't expect if you don't know how to play them. So it can definitely be an unfamiliarity matchup issue. But someone that knows the matchup and knows what he can do, you really shouldn't lose to him. He's kind of limited.
I think a lot of the lower tier characters that you don't see used in play are not used in play for a reason. Most of those characters have very, very, very specific matchups that they can do well in. So like the only person that I could think of that uses him kind of as a secondary / counterpick character, which I think that's pretty much what Ghost Rider is now. If if you play a bad team, then he could be a counterpick for like against Hulk teams like SacTap from SoCal. I think SoCal or San Diego. He uses I think it's Ghost Rider, Hager, Arthur, or something like that, and he'll do that all day against any Hulk players. I think he did it against KBR at like West Coast Curly, or I think it was West Coast Curly. But he's like one of the big proponents for Ghost Rider and really likes the character. And
to me, that's him beating the Hulk player, not Hulk.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. But I think that, I don't know, like, do you not think that Hulk loses that matchup, or do you think, like...
He'll jump block his way in eventually.
Yeah, and then Ghost Rider gets cornered, and then what does he do? Loses. I think Ghost Rider's whack.
Yeah. And you guys had Jarrett back in the day?
GTC.
Oh, yeah.
In Atlanta?
Jarrett's the best. But even then, Ghost Rider's like really whack. He's just you could talk about his strengths, but that one strategy Ray just mentioned is like so crucial to how you beat him. It's like he has no movement in the air, so if he's ever gonna try and like not get cornered, he makes a full commitment, like super jumping out, and then you just like win from there. Like back H is pretty good at like keeping the opponent at bay, but a good assist call will just get right around it, and then you just keep jump blocking, get him cornered, and then he sucks.
Early in Ultimate, I literally just did Fireball plus Destructor, and like I almost never got hit. I just kept doing it. I'm like, what the hell? How's this character hitting anyone?
Yeah.
All right, so who's better,
like,
Ghost Rider or
SacTap,
Shinko?
I did lose to him at Undefeated, so all you haters are gonna be like, "Oh, SPK, you lost to Ghost Rider." No, I didn't.
I lost Arthur.
I lost to Hager. Yeah, I originally picked Zero against him because everybody was hyping SacTap up. He was like, "Yeah, man, freaking Ghost Rider, Hager, bodies Wolverine," and I kind of bought into it for a little bit. But then, as soon as like I picked my Wolverine team when I was like down, I just did exactly what Ray said. I jump blocked, I got him to the corner, and then I just waited. I called Akuma once, and then he got hit, and that's like legit how the matchup always went. And I'm like, oh, okay, this character's ass. Yeah, but not to take anything away from SacTap because he beat me, and I think that dude is actually really good. Like, I'm not even gonna take away anything from that. I'm mostly saying that Ghost Rider is ass. SacTap is good. Let the record be clear.
Alrighty then. Yeah, so Ghost Rider or Shinko? Who do you like?
Shinko.
Shinko.
Shinko is
She's officially not the worst
more
now.
utility. Yeah.
So officially, Ghost Rider's the worst now.
Ghost Rider also has the worst DACs in the entire game.
No, he doesn't. Nemesis.
Oh, no, it's definitely
Nemesis. Nemesis. So, like, no, he's close, but he's not worse than Nemesis.
True.
Two of the worst level 3s. Well, yeah, worst level 3s, and I guess Jill would be up there too.
Nah, Jill's level 3 it's not like it's not anywhere near as bad as Penance Stare and whatever Biohazard Rush.
But I'm
No,
saying
what's the stupid-
after those two, she would be like bottom 3. Personally.
I mean, I don't know. Like, if that's not useful, then is Firebrand's stupid midget helper? Is that not? I think it's just about as useless as Mad Beast is.
No, definitely not. Because you can properly push block Mad Beast and avoid 100% of everything. But with like you guys seen Vanille try to flex every now and then with that little
Yeah.
It rarely works out for him, but like he swears by it. I've just never seen it. I don't know.
All right, so I think I'm gonna move on to another question, maybe one or two more, and then we'll go ahead and close out. Almost getting to 10:30. This is a cool question from Supernoon. Shout out to Supernoon. Favorite non-top players? what do you think? I'm gonna start with Marcus. Your favorite non-top player? I mean, it's kind of hard, right? Do we know where the barrier is now between non-top and top? I don't know. What do you think?
What about the gods, though? Can we talk about the gods? I think we need to talk about the
Hey,
gods.
not.
hey, that
It's
term
not.
is dead. The term is dead.
How many players? How many players?
That
One?
term is dead like Street Fighter 4. All right.
Yo, damn. We said one player.
I mean a few. If you have more in mind.
All right. Well, obviously Rubik's number one.
I consider him a top player though.
He got top 8. Yeah,
Like,
he got top 8.
skill wise.
Okay. All right. Then I'll throw in. I really was a huge fan of LL&D. Chris. Was it Chris Shinko Ami or Ami Shinko?
Yeah.
That LES team. I really liked watching Royal Flush back in the day. Thor, Joe Modoc. And that's my 2 for now. Everybody else is probably like, they were good at some point in this game's lifetime, and are consistently doing well. So
All right. Well, what about you, SPK? Favorite non-top players?
to see.
What's your
Okay.
favorite non-top player?
Okay, well, what constitutes as like a non-top player? I think like for me, if you haven't like made top 8, then we can. That's like the pool. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with that said, first person that comes to mind that hasn't made like top 8 at a major, he's done well at other tournaments, specifically Curly's, and like undefeated recently. But I don't know. He plays at that level, but I don't think he hasn't gone to as many tournaments as he needs to show how good he is. Is Priest from SoCal?
Mm.
Oh
I
yeah.
really
I like
like that
Priest.
dude. I've only played him 1 round, and it was like the most intense 1 round I've ever played somebody. Like the first to 1, and he bodied me. He just like slowly just chipped me out and played like just danced around me all day. And I'm like, man, this dude is really good. I love the way he plays, and he clearly loves the game, and you can see that. So I really like him. And
Priest is a Modoc Mag, right?
Yeah.
Mag Modoc.
yeah, Mag
Doom.
Modoc Doom. Yeah, that dude is really legitimately playing Marvel. I love watching him play. He's one of my favorites. So him, and I'm trying to think of some other bums.
You guys don't have any local players like when you were coming up that you enjoyed watching? That just
Oh,
didn't.
okay. I mean, no, don't even get me. Don't get me started about that. I'll bring up Drugged Fox then, who's he's a top 20 melee player. He's the dude who taught me how to play fighting games when I was just a wee scrub. I owe a lot to him, and he was one of the best players early on that I've ever played and had the fortune to play. He didn't really do that well in tournaments, but if you ever sat down with him in a set and he got to know you and know how you played, he'd
I
do
remember the Legend of
really
Sam.
well.
Sammy.
Yeah, that was always like that was always the legend. He's like the mix-up of Georgia, but no, definitely Sammy.
Yo, damn.
I mean, you can hate on him as much as you want, but y'all ain't top 20 in Melee, which is like the hardest game right now. So yeah, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. So yeah, shout out to Sammy.
All right. What
For
about
me-
you, Ray? Yeah.
For me, it's this is weird, but it's Dang from New York.
Oh.
I love watching Dang play, yo. So smooth, like so
Yeah.
precise with his slow ass movement. And I've stolen some stuff with Doom that works to this day that he was doing in vanilla. He does like super jump, tri jump with butter gun, and then goes low. I've been using that for years. And
Yeah.
it's pretty much a guaranteed hit, and I stole that from him. But yeah, I just like his play, slow, thoughtful, methodical, all that good stuff.
Shout out
He
to
just never
Dane.
traveled really.
Yeah.
And what about you, Kyle?
I don't know. Like I don't know if I have any players that weren't top at one time or aren't top now that are like in my super follow list. Like I don't know. Back in the day, I always Meep is cheap.
Yeah.
Was always one of my big
Oh yeah, me. Yeah.
because of,
Meep is
Meep.
he was one of the early Zero Dante X23 or Zero X23 Dante. I don't remember the order he played it. But like he was so. I mean, me being an X23 scrub for so long, that was definitely. I guess he would be mine. Yeah,
Yo, I just
We'll go
saw,
with
like, 8
but
more
he was really good in vanilla, so I don't know if he counts.
Like
He also got top 8.
Yeah, he
Yeah, I
would
know,
get top
yeah.
8 at every NEC.
Yeah.
Yeah, NEC was his major.
Bum he used to be so tight watching.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Bum.
Oh yeah.
And then there was another player I had just thought. I used to really love watching Hoshin play. I know he was like good in early vanilla and early Ultimate, but I used to love watching him play. Like when he first came out at what was it? What was the Midwest tournament before that every season's meetings?
Yeah.
Oh
Where
man,
he perfected. He did the arrow down, the loop. He did like 4 times.
Oh my god.
That's what's up. For me,
Yeah,
my
he popped off
favorite.
really hard.
Yeah, he like kicked the chair.
Oh, and Mike Ross. And Mike Ross.
Oh,
Mike Ross. Oh my gosh. Yeah, for me, I think my favorite like non-top players are like David F. I like watching him play, but he never enters ever for some reason. Like he just doesn't do it. I don't know why. And like Josh Wong, I think he's really godlike. You know, when he was playing, he just doesn't care enough. Like, but he was still like really good. Like Jago, I think like he's still like one of the best zeros. You know, I mean, I haven't seen him play recently, but yeah, like his zero was sick. Yeah, those are just like a handful, but like there's so many people that like are really entertaining to watch, like regardless of if they're a top player or not. And it's hard in tournament, like especially at majors, like to see those people shine, because I don't know, I guess it's just such a different like atmosphere and like a different, you know the nerves and like all these other things setting in. But when you see some of these people play like outside tournament settings, you really get to see like how godlike they are. So yeah, that is it. I think we're gonna wrap up the questions there. We actually ended up having a lot of really good ones. You wanna do one more? Okay, let me see.
Yeah, one more.
Let me see.
Yeah.
One more. All
And
right.
Also, I should point out solid play too. Back in the day,
I'll second
the
that.
first Rocket Raccoon. He used to play Rocket Raccoon like nobody's business. He was a local player here, and he like super. Mix up.
That's a max out.
Max out.
Oh,
Nah, go ahead.
I was gonna say solid play. He used to play Rocket Raccoon, Doom, Strider, and he had so much tech for all the different ways. This was back when Marvel was reset heavy, so this was before TAC Infinite. So that team now is sick, but back then he had did all this tech to catch all the
back
different
then it was
resets.
sick too, but only because he was God when it came to lab work.
Yeah.
The videos he was putting, I was like, let me show you all the ways you can try and escape this. And there's a solid 15 minutes of him having a solid answer for every single thing. It was really cool.
Dude, there's so many good players. People, I'm looking at the chat and I'm like, this player here, freaking mini boss. I used to love playing.
There's so many good ones. Yes. So, okay, I'm gonna edit this question a little bit. The original question from Raid, shouts to Raid, what's up? He says, so is the Marvel community gonna let KBR win EVO again? I'm gonna edit this a little bit. Who do you think's gonna win EVO this year? Super rough estimate, super guess. We're super early. I'm pretty sure we're gonna do more EVO predictions later. But right now, who do you like? Marcus, go. We're just gonna kick it to you first.
I think that we're gonna have a new champion.
All right, fair enough.
Is that cool? Do I have to say a name?
No, because I think it's definitely possible it just be somebody new and someone we might not have seen before. With it being Evo, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
I'll just say a name. I will say Chris G will win Evo.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I was actually gonna say we all know who's not gonna win.
Nah, I'm going Chris this year.
It's hard, man. That stage is something else.
What do you think, Ray? I mean, come on, man, you gotta do it.
I'm gonna try. I try every year, but I think these past couple of tournaments with nobody except for Chris winning back-to-back majors, I think that just proves how
exactly.
much But we all know Clock is gonna get 9th, and we all know Chris isn't winning. That's all I'm saying.
There are just things that happen, and this is what we know. What about you, Kyle? What are your predictions on this?
I think Justin Wong's going to win, but he's going to win picking, mirror matching everyone with their own team all the way through.
Well, if that happens, please go and buy a lottery ticket immediately. What about you, SPK? I'm not sure if you can hear me.
What do you got?
All right. Well, since we all touched on Chris, and while I think he's definitely like one of the strongest candidates to win, even though we all said that he wouldn't, I think West Coast Warzone was a pretty good indicator of what it's like for Chris to go through a really stressful bracket. He started off in losers in that top 8, and he had to play nothing but people that wanted to like bust his ass open and one and done him. Like me, he had to play J2 Jin earlier, Clockwork. All these people are trying, they were trying to mix him up, put a lot of stress on him, and he overcame everything up until the very end, which I felt that in Grand Finals against Kane, he played pretty slow and was unable to adapt to what KBR was bringing. So with something like EVO, where there's it's the biggest tournament, there's the most entrants, it's going to be also the longest bracket you deal with. Yeah. So with Chris playing such a high maintenance team, granted it's super top tier, but depending on his bracket, I feel like he might get stressed out to the point where he might not be able to play at his tip-top performance when it matters the most. So someone who will do really well at EVO is someone that can play a team that doesn't stress them out as much throughout the long bracket. That
Wolverine
factor,
always does well at EVO.
Yeah.
Proven for the past 5 years.
Nope.
Oh, did you what? I got him mad.
Yeah, man. Well, no, he was like, "You're right. Wolverine wins," and he went, and now he's hitting up the lab. He's got.
Yeah, he said it's over, guys. It's over.
Nah, but I do want to bring up what the chat is talking about, and I feel like everyone seems to forget. Japan definitely put in a bunch of work this year at EVO. And they're going to be ready. I know they're going to be ready.
And Nemo. He quit his job to do this, right? Like he was quitting his job to focus more on on playing the games and getting better, right? So I don't know. I think that might affect it too. Japan's gonna be showing up.
Cross, RF made top 8 and both of those guys made top 8 pretty easily.
Nobody would have predicted last year's top 8 though. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
that top 8 was ridiculous.
Didn't one person predict it? They had like that contest, like if you guess top 8, I think one person like got it right out of everyone that entered.
They should have played the lotto then.
For sure. So I think we can close out the show on that note. Tons of awesome questions. Thank you guys for sending them in. You can send in your questions whenever. We'll still keep track of them and hold on to some of them for next show. So whenever you have a question, you have our Twitter. It's on your screen right now at Marvel Lives. So let's just do some final shout outs here. We have our other shows we always show some love to. Super Desperation Radio on this channel right here, twitch.tv/Team Spooky on Mondays, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We also have Ultra Chin TV over on twitch.tv/Ultra Chin TV on Tuesdays at 8:30 Pacific Time as well. I think they're coming up after us. Capcom Pro Talk on twitch.tv/Capcom Fighters Tuesdays, 7 p.m. might be going on right now. And then a couple of other shout outs to Chris Bond over at pvplive.net, giving us a super dope shout out for our podcast. We appreciate the love. All of you, love doing this, and we love putting on the show for you guys. So when you guys show that love back, it's really awesome, right? And of course, check out the Marvel Reddit, r/MVC3, not UMVC3, MVC3. Don't get it mixed up. All the fun happens at MVC3. So check that out. Of course, shouts to SRK. And then our next show is going to be on May 3rd. Same time, same place, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here at twitch.tv/Team Spooky. Whew! Almost there, guys. Gonna run around the table right now. Get everyone's final shout outs. Marcus, go.
Yo, shout outs to KIT. Shout outs to you guys. And shout outs to Pandas. Panda.
Pandas, not Panda King.
And Kyle, your shout outs? Go ahead.
I'll do my normal shout outs to the Southeast. Hopefully I'll be able to make it down to Florida or Georgia and hang out because I'm in need of some Marvel love. So if anyone has a couch, let me know.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'll ride with you. I'm free this weekend.
Here we go. Yeah. All right, Ray, shout outs?
Shout outs to Marvel Live. Shout outs to everyone watching. And shout outs to Sentinel.
Yeah, Sentinel. And I'm not sure if SPK is still with us.
To see if you got any shout outs besides me.
Let's see. Shout outs to everybody that I hung out with at West Coast Warzone. That was a really chill major, and it was a lot of fun meeting new people, hanging out, getting games in, all that stuff. Hopefully we can run it back at Northwest Majors. And yeah, shout outs to everybody I played at that tournament too. My sets with everybody were pretty cool. High and Nasty, Clegg, Paradigm. Yeah, and shout outs to Street Fighter V being super stressful in tournament, but us Marvel players, we're slowly climbing up the ranks. We're getting better, so I'm really hyped to keep playing that game as well. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep it to that.
Cool.
Shoutouts to Guile with his Pi arms and his Goomba crawl. That's gonna be mad hype.
Goomba crawl. Damn.
All right, and of course, shouts to Broken Tier, my awesome, amazing team. You're the best. Check out BrokenTier.com if you want some fighting game apparel. Got some new designs and a bunch of other stuff. Even got a new stick bag, so check that out. I know that was super popular at one point. So yeah, that's about it. Shout outs to Marvel Live and our crew, of course. Shout outs to everyone at home for tuning in, and we will catch you guys May 3rd, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/TeamSpooky. All right, good night. We made it. Good night, guys.
Later, everyone.
Later.